This is Yerushalmi Peah Daf Yud Zayin, according to the Art Scroll of the Bahadr edition, and as was the day before, we got pretty far on Yud Zayin Valve yesterday in order to finish the sugya, so we're starting 4 lines to the bottom, after the 2 dots. Rabbi Yossi Shem Yosef Chanina. And in the Vilna, that is, on Daf Yud Aleph, on Aleph, right at the top. Yoshem Yosrina, Fish Peah Misal Chaverta. Okay? Yeah. So, let's start. Rabbi Yitzchak Shem Rabbi Yitzchak Hanina, he preached Peah Misal Chaverta. If you talk to the Mishnah about interruptions in the field, what if you're marfish from one field to another field, local church, it's not Peah. It doesn't come Peah. It has to be in the field itself. Rabbi Zer Boy Kum Rabbi Yossi Niskavin Lizakos Min Hametzar. You had the there are 2 fields, and then there's the border between the 2 of them. And on the border, you had some stuff growing. You had in mind that stuff on the border should be the payer for both fields. B'saramina, and he fell away from it. Usually, that's what it means. I guess Rabbi Zir initially wanted to say that he asked a question. Does that work? And he fell away from it. In other words, he realized, no, it doesn't work. And Pnei Moshe explains that it's a mate, if you want to acquire the property of a ger that died, which is the owner, then there's a mate, or boundary. If you and the principle is if you manage in one of the ger's fields, it doesn't work for another one. Boy Rabbi Zir Sham, and that Rabbi Zir asked in Kiddushin, makes the mates of Skam Nos Kametz and Lamate Men and Kona who are Sada Chazok Shametz Olo. Right? He acquires a Meitzar, the mutual boundary, and thus acquired the 2 fields. Pana Kain Hadacha, and here it's very similar. It's similar to what we say here. Fisher call a mafsi when you say ger, mafs is anything which rubs by the property of a ger, each field from the other field. Interruption for Peah. So he fell off this. He fell off his question because I guess everybody asked the question. Everybody asked Kiddushin. So Kavanaughty says, "Sorry, Mine, but was here. He didn't. He dropped the question, but it's by the Ifshatot, not because he had any indication from Kiddushin whether Allah should be here." The Rasriel says that Rabbi Yosa was sorry, Mine. He dropped away from Yizira and didn't want to answer him, and therefore he got away from the question by going away. The Kroah says something similar. Says it was marchem and did not give him any resolution to his question. So could be Sarmia is going to Rabbi Zir himself, according to evidently most unfortunately, it's going on Rabbi Yasser that he didn't want to answer the question. But Chavish does Rabbi Yasser. So the according to that understanding, it works out better. We say that sorry, me that he was going Rabbi Yasser because we're going to ask a question right now on from Rabbi Yasser. Rabbi Yasser it means that Rabbi Yasser did not have a clarity here. His Mesubak what to say, and therefore he avoided answering. And it seems to contradict Rabbi Yasser's perspective elsewhere. The Tnei Tamon we learned over there. Moedim Chachamim Rabbi Kiva B'Zorah B'Sheves Ocharda B'Shloshim Mekoimos. We don't get to Rabbi Yasser for a while. It says there. It says in Tamon is Nazir Nida and Yerushalmi Peah later on Gimel Aleph. Chachamim might keep a Zora Sheves or Chardal. The somebody who uh, gathers from his field in different places, like Numar means in different spots, the stalks which are fully ripe, and left the ones which are not fully ripe, and then he goes to another place, and he goes from place to place. So where Akiva holds, when he comes to gather the rest, now they've emptied their puck marks, so to speak, in the field, which divide parts of the field from each other. You have to give payoff from each and every section of the field, which has now been created by his early harvest. So the so the that's let's see, got it. See that inside again. Rabbi Akiva Zorea Sheves Ocharda b'shloshim Mekayim b'shloshim Mekayim Shum Yosef Bel Kav Echad. But I normally don't agree with Rabbi Akiva on that point. They say it's still considered to be one field. But if you were talking about Sheves or Chardal, that's different. Why? Because Sheves or Chardal, the way those crop works, Sheves Pei Mekayim Echad. Shmuel Amar Minesha Ein Arishon Shabei Mamtin Lachron. Because they don't grow at the same time. The first one is harvested before harvested before the second one, which is anywhere near harvest. So therefore, there are things which are harvested versus things which are not harvested, as if they're different fields. That's from Shmuel's opinion. Yaz Hashem Rabbi Yonah says, "Neisha darkon lizra arugos." It's because they are planted in different patches. It could be they do ripen at the same time, but they're planted in different patches, and therefore you have to take off payoff independently on each one. So if that's the case, if he holds that each aruga is separate, so here too, you should also say that the meitzar, the boundary between the fields, is also like a different aruga, a different patch in the field. Right? There's a patch on one side, patch on the other side, and the boundary between the fields, and there's a different patch. So you can't take a pair from one patch, meaning the meitzar, on the other patches, the fields on each side. Shita leishu mafsi. So it says, well, you know what? No, really, it's pasha to Rabbi Yasser that it's an interruption, and you can't take payoff from the meitzar on the on the sides. That's not a question. But lo tzur ela ikitra mishim peah ilo kitra. He had in mind though that this meitzar should be payoff on both sides. So obviously, it's giving more than the sheer pair from the necessary from the meitzar for the meitzar in order to be yotzei both sides. Is everything he gives in this circumstance considered to be payah, or only the payah which would be effective for the meitzar is payah, not the stuff which he added on in order to encompass the aruga on each side? So Sani Rabbi Yosha said if he's payah misay the chaverta lo kitcha shmas meimar afilu meitzar. It doesn't work. Because even if you're mafish payah from one field, if you're mafish payah from one field to another field, it's not kadosh. And the inference is even a meitzar is included in that, because once we hold that aruga, each one is separate. Also, the meitzar forms that category. Mashbiach felt that there's a little bit difficult to say that Shema Meimar means an inference. How can you infer from the case of Peah Sada al Chaverta, the case of Meitzar, which I find after all is fundamentally different, because it's not a sud in the middle. It's a meitzar, it's a boundary. So maybe a boundary is tafel to the field. So he said, the Mashbiach says that the word here Shama Meimar is like v'kibalnu b'shamanu. In other words, we have a Mesorah. That just like that's the case by a Sada Chaverta, so too is the case by a Meitzar on the fields next to it. And that actually is the end of Daf Yud Zayin in the article Oz V'Hodar. So it's really a new topic on Yud Ches and Rav. But let's do Yud Ches, two dots. Two dots in Yud Ches. B'yaseh Echina Amar Chatzubas Mafsikin Lepeah. Chatzubas is a grass which sinks directly down into the earth, and Rabbi Chisda boy, here it's a statement, not a question. Bohen chilak Yoshua's oretz. With them, the Yoshua divided Eretz Yisrael. That's brought down also in the Bavli. That since the Chatzuba goes directly down, it serves as a good boundary plant to know where the boundaries are because the roots don't spread out. Asa B'chim Yerushalmi Peah Bohem Tichem Yoshua es Soretz, and I guess he was not likely, didn't like the word chalak because chalak means to distribute, distribute by chatzubos. So then he was corrected and said that no, obviously they weren't he didn't divide them that way, but they were the signs of the boundary. The Shai Eretz Yisrael says he thinks that the chatzubas are cacti. I don't know about the roots of cacti. One has to look that up, but he says that the roots of cacti evidently go directly down. So the Kavanaki says Rechinas was fixed in language of Rav Chisda, which is chilek to be Kolosh Rabo, which is tichem. But again, it's not just a tikkun. Tichem is actually more medukdak. So now we got up to the two dots on Yud Ches Amud Aleph, and we will stop here for today.